Ben, if you want to put the optimism around Europe and the pessimism around the United States into one trade, euro-dollar at about 117.47 at the moment as we trade, and close to 2017 highs at the moment as well. But I just look at the positioning, some of the speculative positioning around the US dollar. We have gone from aggressively long to aggressively short. You're folding the Fed debate into that as well. When you look at that currency pair and the transatlantic divide that emerges over the last 6 months or so, are you changing your views on where we're going here?
Okay, fundamentally, Europe continues to outperform. You know, the German GDP data is a good example of that. I guess that presents a little bit of upside risk for euro area GDP and how it's revised tomorrow. And so the fundamental picture is still there. We were talking earlier about policy convergence insofar as relatively good economic data in Europe has been pushing the implied policy stance up and has been pushing the euro up. So our favorite framework for analyzing or for quantifying that is the Taylor rule, where you take your equilibrium interest rate, your unemployment rate, and your inflation rate, and you plug it in, and it gives you an implied policy stance for the central bank. So if you were to do that for Europe and do that for the United States, over the first half of the year, the U.S. Taylor rule did nothing because inflation was going down and the unemployment rate was going down as well. The implied stance in Europe went up by 140 basis points. Okay, so all the action was there. In fact, so you can think about the euro move that we saw in the beginning of the year as reconnecting with those fundamental drivers. Now, looking ahead, if we were to plug in what are reasonable forecasts, not even heroic ones in terms of inflation for Europe and for the U.S., it's a much closer race towards the end of the year. So I think the way I'd handicap it is that there's some additional economic pressure on the euro to get stronger versus the dollar. And probably some other things, risk sentiment in particular, pushing in the other direction. So it's about more of a balanced view on the euro-dollar pair. What we don't see as being a likely outcome is for a big reversal and strength in the dollar.